There is a case in front of the Supreme Court that I feel like not enough people are talking about, and that is Calais versus Louisiana. Why that case is such a big deal is because there is potential for essentially all of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act to be struck, which would be devastating for Black people, people of color getting representation in the South. So let's talk about the case a little bit. Under the former administration, the state of Louisiana was sued by the Department of Justice for violating the Voting Rights Act because even though Black people in Louisiana make up a little bit more than 1/3 of the population, there was only one majority Black congressional district in the entire state. The DOJ sued Louisiana, and the case was settled. The court was like, yeah, you know what? Actually, redraw those maps, create a second majority Black district. Yay! That district, it got drawn last year. Wonderful. Wonderful, right? End of story. Yay! No. Immediately, almost immediately, after the new map was drawn, after the second majority Black congressional district happened, a group of white voters in Louisiana sued and said that their rights were being infringed upon because they were not being represented as white people in these two congressional districts. Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about where things stand now. You know, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act comes out of post Jim Crow America, where trying to ensure that Black Americans in the South had adequate and fair representation. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act prohibits any kind of voting practices that result in discrimination based on race, color, or membership to a group. Basically allows for race to be taken into consideration when drawing congressional maps, also legislative maps on the state level as well. And the argument that is being, fought in front of the Supreme Court right now is that the idea of even allowing race-based remedies is unconstitutional. And there are huge implications for that. So the group of white voters are arguing that race was considered too much in the creation of the second Black congressional district. And by using race as the primary factor for creating that district, their rights are being violated under the Equal Protection Law. And that instead of using race as the factor, the state of Louisiana should have used compactness or around communities of interest. That's a whole other term. I'm not going to get into that right now, but people want to know about redistricting more. Let's talk about it. But what they're basically saying is that the states cannot use race as a determining factor for political representation. And basically the argument, right, is that we don't have slavery, we don't have racism, we don't have Jim Crow. All of our problems are solved. We need to go to a colorblind approach. The reason why this is so dangerous is because if the Supreme Court agrees with the argument that is being made by that group of white voters, it opens Pandora's box for the South to redistrict. And redistrict in ways where communities that are 80% Black potentially will never have a Black person representing them in Congress. We're expecting that decision in January, going into the midterms. So I'll keep you guys updated.